Today in Capechi's Corner, we are going to be looking at writing equations using point-slope form. So here's point-slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m times the quantity of x minus x1. Where m right here, that's the slope. And we have a point x1, y1. So that's where we place them here and here. And that y and the x, they just stay as part of the equation. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find the slope if it's not given to us. Then we're going to use the slope and one of the points to write an equation. And then we're going to solve for y to put the equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so let's get started. So when do we use point-slope form? Well, point-slope form is used when we don't have a y-intercept. So it could be any point on the line. So here is what we have to start with. The equation below is written in point-slope form. So what is the point and what is the slope for this equation? So this -2, right? If we look at our equation above, remember we have y minus y1 is equal to m times the quantity of x minus x1. Our slope then is going to be -2. And our point that we have, now we have to be careful because of that negative sign. So we have -6. So our point then is going to be +6. And we have +4, which again, looking at the equation, we have to be careful. The sign is going to be -4. The next part asks us to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to rewrite what I have. And I'm just going to distribute on the right, -2x plus 12. I'm going to subtract 4. So my equation in slope-intercept form is -2x plus 8. Okay, so again, what's our slope? Our slope here is -2. Now again, that should match what we have above, right? We're still talking about the same line. And then my y-intercept is equal to 8. Okay, so to show how this kind of all relates, we're going to look at this graph. So what I did so far, this point is what I have here, this point 6, -4. Okay, so let's see what happens if I graph using slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go up 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And my slope here is -2 over 1. So I'm down 2 to the right 1. So I go down 2 to the right 1. I'm going to keep going down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, and then look what happens. We hit that point. And that's what's supposed to happen because what happens is this point is on the line we just talked about. So I can graph the line. So it will go through both my y-intercept and the point that I started with if I did it correctly. That's how it all relates. We're just using that point to write it in slope-intercept form. We never use point-slope form other than just a working equation. You can't graph just by itself. All right, so let's look at example 2. Write an equation in point-slope form for the line that passes through these points. Again, doing the same thing on the slope. So we're going to use the same thing. We're going to do lots of practice today. So I have y minus 7 is equal to -3 over 2 times the quantity of x plus 2. Okay, so I'm going to distribute on the right. I have -3 over 2 x minus, this gives me -6 over 2, which gives me 3. I'm going to add 7 to both sides, and I have y is equal to -3 over 2x plus 4. So that is our equation in slope-intercept form. So this right here is our point-slope form, and that right here is our slope-intercept form. All right. All right, let's see what we have next. In the first two examples, we were given the slope. This time it says write the slope-intercept form equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. So what happens now is I don't have the slope. So that's the first thing I'm going to have to find. So I have -3 plus 7 over 6 minus 2, right? Using that slope formula we've used before. Okay, so that gives us +4 over 4, which gives us 1. Okay, so now we use point slope. So here's the thing. It does not matter which point you use. Both of those points the line's going to go through both of them. So it doesn't matter. I'll use the first one. You can use the second one if you like. We get the same equation. Y plus 7 is equal to the slope, which is 1 times x minus 2. So I have 1 plus 7, right? It's easy to distribute that 1. So I have y is equal to x minus 9. Again, that's slope-intercept form. Okay, let's do another one, similar. I'm going to find the slope first, -2 minus 18 over -11 plus 16, which gives me -20 over positive 5, which is negative 4. Now again, this time I'll use the second point. It really doesn't matter. Y plus 2 is equal to negative 4 times x plus 11. So I have y plus 2 is equal to negative 4x minus 44. So our final equation, once we subtract 2, is y is equal to negative 4x minus 46. All right, let's take a look at a word problem. So it says the total cost of a taxi fare is given in the table below. So anytime you're given a table, you really have to make sure that you're paying attention to what they're given. So this is the distance and this is the cost. So remember, each of these, anytime you have a table, we call them XY tables a lot. They go together, they're points, right? So this is an XY point. That's a point. So the first thing I have to do is I have to find the slope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the points just so it's a little easier for me to read. I have 1.5 and 6.9 as one point, and I have 4 and 13.40 as a second point. So the first thing I'm going to do again is find the slope. So I have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and I end up with 6.5 divided by 2.5. So 2.6 is my slope. Now, again, I can use either point. I'm going to use this one just because it has a 4. There's no decimal in that particular x coordinate, so I'm going to use that. So I have y minus 13.40 is equal to my slope, which is 2.6 times x minus 4. This is my point slope form. Now, sometimes just remember, a lot of times we use, in slope intercept form, we use fraction as our slope. But in word problems, a lot of times they do show up, the values do show up in decimals, and you just go with it. It just depends. In this case, we're talking about dollars, so we're talking about money. So we definitely see them in decimal versus fraction form. So again, I'm going to distribute. I have 2.6x minus 10.4. I'm going to add 13.40. And I end up with y is equal to 2.6x plus 3. So let's talk about this a little bit. So this 3, what is that? What is that, right? When we're doing slope intercept form, this looks like this is just a standard form, right? This is a fee, sorry, standard fee. This is a fee that they're just going to have us pay no matter what. You get in the taxi cab, it starts at $3 no matter what. This is the rate of change, right? The slope is the rate of change. So that's the cost per mile. So again, just trying to understand our equations a little bit better so we're not, just working like a robots and we have no idea what's going on. All right, so let's do the last one. What's the cost of 35-mile taxi ride? Okay, so we have y is equal to 2.6x plus 3. This is the cost per mile, and so we're going to multiply it by the mile. So I have 2.6. It said 35 miles plus 3. I put that into my calculator, and that cost for that taxi cab is going to be $94. Okay, thanks so much for stopping by today. You have a great day.